is my business coloring because of the communication and the opening of the throat chakra.
Awesome, you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Bold Badass Business Owner Show. And oh my God, I am thrilled today because we have in the house an expert who has over 40 healing modalities under her belt, y'all. And she works with people. This is Jessy Morrison. She works with people with anxiety, with depression, with issues with weight, allergies, loneliness, all of these emotional and physical ailments. And she has really incredible ways to help you shift. And actually today, Jessy's going to share some as we are talking. You know, there'll be moments where I'm going to say, hey, Jessy, share that, share us a technique that we could use when we start getting wonky. Today's word is wonky. When we get wonky, when your energy is off. And guess what, you all, in business, it's your energy that makes all the difference. People may not understand energy, but they're choosing to work with you because of your energy, your way of being, not just your expertise. Think about it. Would you go to a hairdresser who had bad energy?
Or bad hair? No.
Or bad hair. That's the other thing. Look at your hairdressers before you sit down in that chair. Look at their hair. Yeah, good point. That's your pro tip today. Look at your hairdresser's hair before you sit down in the chair. So anyway, Jessy, welcome. And you're calling in from?
Ontario, Canada.
I remembered you were from Canada. You all, I met Jessy through a conference and I just loved her energy. I got to experience one of her healing sessions, which I highly recommend. And by the way, you got to watch to the end because there are going to be some giveaways. Oh, did I say free? My favorite 4-letter word, free. Before I forget, y'all, subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right. Make sure you do it so you don't miss any episode of Bold Badass Business Owners. I always forget to say that, so I make myself do it every time now. So Jessy, we're so happy you're with us, and your name of your business is Your Body Talks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you choose that name?
Ever since I was a little girl, I would be able to pick up other people's feelings in their bodies. If they were limping, I'd start limping too, or I'd run up to them in a supermarket and put my hands on them. And I can remember my mother saying, "Don't touch strangers. What are you doing?" And it's like, "But mommy, I can make them feel better." And I would be drained. And so I didn't know. I mean, I'm 68 now, so we didn't talk about empaths and things way back when the earth was cooling and dinosaurs roamed the earth. But we had the ability, and our ancestors had the ability to take a plant in their hands and know if it was medicinal or if it was poisonous, to know what was going on, to be in tune with the earth and to feel everybody else's energy. And it hasn't been until the 20th century that we said, well, we can't see it, so you can't feel that way. No, you can't possibly know what I'm thinking. Well, I don't know what you're thinking, but I do know what you're feeling. And so I tried to shut it off. I went into pharmaceutical because I wanted to help people, and that was the streamlined way of doing things. And I was the sickest in my 20 years in pharmaceutical than ever in my entire life. I could not take any of the medications that we were creating. I worked with Bristol Myers and Merck, and we worked with Bayer, and we were doing... it just didn't align with my own physicality. And I remember the HR director at, where was I? KMS, I guess. I was in charge of special projects. And she came up to me one day and she goes, "Why does everybody come to you and tell you their problems? They're supposed to come to me." And I remember looking at her and I was really shocked, but everybody was always coming into my cubicle, unloading their stuff. And somehow I would make it better. And I'd been doing that since I was a kid. I used to say I must have been a priest in a previous life because everybody tells me all their stuff, inappropriate stuff in the shopping mall, anywhere. And it's like, I seem to have that energy, but I would take on people's sadness or their shame or not be able to label it. And it wasn't until I went through the shitstorm, if you want to say.
Yeah.
Went through divorce. It's a shitstorm for a lot of people, but it's also a jumping off point to something new, right? And it's like you really get to know yourself when you're going through the destruction of who you think is the love of your life forever. That's an interesting implant that we have there too. It's like, no, we're supposed to grow. We're supposed to grow and teach each other and learn from each other and keep moving on. And when I went through divorce, my daughter was very, very sick, and she was in Sick Kids Hospital. And I'm trying to think now, at the time they were calling it failure to thrive. And it wasn't until after the divorce, and my ex told me to let her die, that we started discovering, her stomach was like a Teflon stomach. She had no absorptive villi. The more baby finger foods I gave her, like the pastas and things, the sicker this child got. And we didn't know about gluten intolerance going, but Laura's 31, 32 now.
Yeah.
It was unknown back then. So I had to find other things to do. Now, I always knew I was sensitive. I couldn't eat corn. I didn't like pastries and wheat and stuff like that, but I didn't think it could be a condition because that's the staff of life. That's how the Europeans, everything came with
it's that food pyramid that they try to sell us in the government. Okay.
And that made me so sick. And my daughter was a product of me. And my daughter is a healer. She is also extremely psychic. But it was like the world was too much for her. The world was too much for me. And I had to figure out how to get in tune with us, to get in tune with what we needed that other people didn't understand we needed. Why is it we couldn't take medications? Why is it we couldn't walk into a crowded room or go to a concert the way everybody else liked to do? I couldn't even walk into bars because I would feel everybody's ugh. And I would want to go, I'd run to the bathroom vomiting. And it's like, that's not fair. I didn't even have a drink. Why am I throwing up here? And my mother pointed out that I was like that as a child, going to birthday parties and things. So I was very empathic, but it was also a word I didn't know. I was called too sensitive.
Now, of course, they have the HSP designation now, the highly sensitive person. There are books written on this, and I've read some of them because certainly I'm an HSP too. And, I think there's several things that you have said, Jessy, that stand out to me. And one is that those of us who are HSPs, we do easily take on the energy, the feelings of others. And it's very essential that we learn ways to be unshakable, that we have ways to be unshakable, because otherwise everything, including our pets in our environment, even somebody who comes to the door can shake us. Depending on how they are. And, another thing I think is interesting about what you said is I have noticed that many of us who are sensitive also have some sort of digestive issues. Now that can be, at one point, we talk about everything on this show. At one point I had irritable bowel syndrome, y'all. I even did a stand-up comedy routine. Yes, it's on my YouTube channel about IBS. I did it in a stand-up comedy club, y'all. I did, and talked about my IBS. But the thing is that things that are hard to digest, think about it, in your life, when something is hard to digest, when that person you love has betrayed you in some way, or the person you love has left you, or the person died or just gone, left, when something, or the person you love abuses you, it's very hard for us to digest this mentally, spiritually, physically, and we can develop digestive issues. And like you pointed out, it can be passed on to our children.
Another thing about digestive issues is our digestive system is our enteric brain. That is the first brain that was formed when the sperm and the ovum came together. It created our spinal column, all the nerve supply to all of our organs. And 4 months later, we got this pump up here, but this pump is connected to our higher self, our soul, our inspiration, our enthusiasm. And that gut and that enthusiasm has to work together. When we've got those two together, we are so beautifully, empathic is almost the wrong word. We are so open. Radiant. Thank you. We are so open and radiant, and we can feel absolutely everything on the planet. But we have been taught, because of all the studying we do with our mind, and this little hamster wheel is trying to control everything. The hamster wheel is what gets overwhelmed. We don't. Okay. If we're listening to our gut and our heart, we are congruent. Tip number 1, put your hand on your heart, your hand on your belly, and just leave it there and breathe for this entire Okay. Science has shown that we start lowering the cortisol levels, even our blood sugars drop. Okay. We increase our melatonin, our serotonin, even the dopamine increases. Then we don't need the false dopamine from sugar and everything. So just by doing this, we suddenly get centered. We get into our body. We start tuning in. And then we, like I said, we hear, feel, receive all the thoughts and feelings of the planet in a radius of 35,000 miles.
Wow. So say that again. Wait, say that again. Oh my God.
We can feel the thoughts and feelings of every living thing on this planet, not just people, for a radius of 35,000 miles. Now get
Wow.
this. The world is only 45,000 miles in radius. Who are we not getting? The polar bears and the penguins? Or however
Yes.
they measured this, whatever equipment they used, did it not go far enough?
That's the question, right?
No.
Yes. Did
What
it
we
not
have
go far
done is
enough?
empaths is try to shield ourselves. I don't want to feel his stuff. Oh, I don't like his
Yes.
energy. It's too heavy. Oh, no, no, no. I don't want people like that in my life. And the more we try to shrink, the more overwhelmed we get because we solidify our energy field. We make ourselves
constrict it.
dense. We restrict ourselves. And it's
Yes,
like
we
I tell that
constrict it instead of, it's like I talk about energy in terms of are we expansive is when you have a business idea, you can ask yourself, does this expand me? Is this expansive? Does this feel expansive? Or does this feel like it constricts me? Does this feel constricting? And
And
based
quite
on that
often when people
question,
take coaching courses, it
yes,
feels constricted because you're trying to fit into somebody else's model. It worked for them,
voila.
but it's not your soul helping you move forward.
Yeah.
So I always say to people, ask, is that feeling even mine? Hand on heart,
Mhm.
hand on belly. You're asking your body. You're not asking your head. Because the head's going, I heard that. It must be my thought. I received it. It must be mine. It's like,
Even though it was on the TV in a McDonald's commercial, it's mine.
it's not. It's an implant. It's a dust bunny landing on you because you're vibrating at that frequency that says, oh, come on in. Let's see what we can do together. But if you have
Energetic
your hand on your
tacit
heart,
acculturation. I mean, we are tacitly acculturated, you all, without knowing it, by everything we see, everything that comes across our screen, our computer screen, our TV screen, our billboards that when we're driving, our GPSs, we are being tacitly acculturated, and we are energetically also being acculturated.
that's it. I like your word. I've never heard that before. I call it domesticated. We are being domesticated. We're being taught how to think.
Yes.
I remember my father actually saying to me, don't feel that. Think the way I'm telling you to think. And it was like, ugh. And I shut myself off. And I did that for
Yes.
years and years and years. But that also didn't allow me to be safe in different environments. It didn't allow
Yes.
me to expand and be healthy. It didn't allow me to be enthusiastic. As soon as you shut anything down, you shut all the vibrations down. I
Yes.
couldn't even receive healing energy from the earth and our surroundings. And we are nuclear reactors. We can take any frequency of energy and change it into something nourishing from ourselves, except that our head says, you can't do that. Oh no, we're not capable. We're just weak. We're just broken. We're insignificant. We're not enough. And that's that culturation that you're saying, because
Yes.
they spend an awful lot of time trying to convince us how pathetic we are.
It's what Don Miguel Ruiz calls the illusion, right? And I like your word domestication, though when I think about that, I always think about like 18th century fiction because you had the domestic sphere and the public sphere, especially for women, right?
Oh, I see.
And
It
yeah,
was a
and there was a
domestication back
whole
then,
genre
too.
of domestic literature, right? But so it has a particularly gendered meaning too. But
For me, it's like domesticating the animals.
exactly
The
a
dogs,
training.
Think about it. Horses, yeah. We tame them. We've been tamed.
We're being entrained, basically,
Yes.
and actually, you all, I would say we're being hypnotized in so many cases, unless we really stop and analyze. And even when we do, there's stuff that you can say, like your money scripts from your family, and you'll notice yourself saying something, and where did that come from? And when you look back, it was from a grandfather, a grandmother, a mother, an aunt. But we
or a TV
really,
commercial, or
a
a
TV
story,
commercial,
or a book you read.
or rampant consumerism and as in this, in this country. So what scripts are you using? Everyone think about that as Jessy and I are talking. What are some of your scripts? What are some of the stories that you have going on? And I always ask my clients in my Make It Happen Mastermind, what you're saying right now is a story. Now, is that story serving you? So you might have a story of how you can't work with more than X number of clients because it'll just be too much. Mm-hmm. Or you have a story of how you have to work 40 hours a week if you want to surpass 6 figures. Baloney. I work less than I ever did and make more than I ever did. Listen to me, you all. So whatever story you've got going on in your business, you better believe you have been scripted, tacitly acculturated, domesticated. We've used all these different words and trained to that story by somebody. And the question is it serving you?
And if you work hard and work extra hours, somebody will take care of you. Big brother will take care of you. Who? Huh? What?
It can be really hard to unplug though, Jessy, and I learned that because I just got back from over a month in Europe with my daughter, traveling all over. It was a wonderful trip, but it was a challenge those first few days to unplug. And I was still staying in touch by text with my clients just to offer them support because that's what I do. But, to not do the normal things that I do, not attend the networking, not do the structure that I usually do was difficult at first. And you all, I want you to think, those of you watching, how is the structure that you have in your business, how has that really been imposed upon you in certain ways by somebody else's idea of how things need to be? I have this mantra now of the less I work, the more I make, and the more impact I make. Mm-hmm. So the more money and the more impact I make, the less I work. So I want you to think about that, everybody. What is the story you're telling yourself about how hard you have to work to earn it, how it has to be a struggle? This whole society is in this entrainment of struggle. Oh, I have to struggle to have this happen. I have to
work hard. It's an enslavement. It's still a slave mentality. And that we're supposed to give all our time and life force energy to. I'm going to use the word big brother again because I don't have a name for that draconian energy. And it's
big brother works, girl.
The
big Death Eater brother. Big shithead brother, big asswipe brother. How about that one?
That one's good. Yeah, you do like your adjectives.
I do like my little curse words. I try to curse at least once just to keep everybody on their toes. Hey, we got a thumbs up. Who's on here? Make sure you make a comment. What are you hearing that you're saying, oh my God, how have I let somebody tell me a story that isn't true? How do I want to change my story? The story I'm telling myself, I'll never be rich. I'll never make enough money. I'll never have my own TV show. I'll never, whatever it is, y'all.
Look for the nevers. Not enough time. Who want to listen
to the shoulds? Oh yeah, exactly. Look for all those words that will tell you you are in somebody else's script. And it is.
It's an automatic script. It's just it's like elevator music playing in your head, looking for an opportunity to voice itself. That's why I was like, hand on heart, hand on belly, you can't be lied to. Even your own head can't lie to you. So the first question you ask your body, and I'm going to stand up for this one, and I'm sure you do this, but for the people who don't use the sway test to their advantage, when we were children, if we wanted a cookie or a watermelon, we'd just go out and grab it. Our body would reach for it and bring it in. If somebody walked by with dog manure, we would sway backwards because we didn't want that, okay? To use that ability now with your hand on your heart, your hand on your belly, you say to your body, hey, body, I love you. And I'm sorry I lost touch with listening to what you're telling me. Would you please sway forward to show me a yes? And your body will start moving without you pushing it. Okay. You can do this sitting down or lying down. Your body is going to show you in some way that it's moving forward. It has been listening to you for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, your entire lifetime. And body, would you sway backwards to show me a no? Mm-hmm. And it'll automatically sway into position. Now, for some people, it's very subtle. They can feel their chest moving forward or their belly moving forward or their thighs or even their neck or chin. And some people will feel as if there's a string pulling you backwards. get to know your own body's language. Because when you ask a question like this, oh, is that thought even mine? We're not asking the head, because the head's going to go through the old filing cabinets looking for things. But if you ask the body's going to give you a very quick yes or no. And usually these automatic thoughts are a no. And when it's a no, my next magic question, because I have 4 magic questions that I ask for everything, even to find out why people have cancer and things like this. I ask, is it mine? Could I let that go? And could I let it go isn't forcing it away from me. It's just going, is it possible that I can let this energy start flowing again? And then I ask, would I? So look at this. I'm holding a glass of water here. I could drop that. Gravity works. It absolutely works. Would I drop it? No. My body says no. And I'm going, well, why not? Well, it's glass. I'm in bare feet. I have a carpet. I'll be spilling water. I could come up with 1,000 reasons. So could I let it go is a different question than would I let it go?
So let me ask you, okay, I want to make sure I get this. I'm putting them into the comments right now. So the 4 magic questions are, is that mine? Can I let it go?
So I use could I and would I because they sort of rhyme. So could I let it go, which is like, could I let it flow? Okay, if you have pain means pay attention inwards now. Pain means you've compressed some energy and it's not in flow. Okay, so could I let that go? And it'll give us a yes or a no. Would I let it go is again a yes or a no. We're not forcing the body to do anything. We're not telling her she has to do something. It's like getting on your knees to a kid who's crying and saying, hey, I'm listening. What conditions need to be met right now to make you happy? Okay. Nice. And you're very gentle with your body because you want to listen. You want to know what it's telling you. And so often, we were taught, go to the gym, do your 50 reps, do this, stay up late, push through, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, hey, body, is it, like you said, I think when you said, you ask if a business is it an opportunity? I always go, is it an opportunity or a distraction?
It will expand me or will it constrict me is the way I ask it. But yes.
Same thing. That constriction is the pain. And it's like, we don't have to go into pain. So I like to say, like, even when you and I were talking about this, I asked myself, I muscle tested, is this an opportunity? And it went, oh, yeah. And I said, is it just a distraction? No. There's some reason you and I have to communicate in here and share this with people, especially if you're in Canada. They've just changed our laws so that we're not going to be able to bring in any more vitamins and minerals and things like that and use herbs. They're really constricting us. They want everything to be pharmaceutical. And they've made it impossible for American companies to start bringing their supplements in. The glutathione, you think that's kind of what's the big deal if we bring in glutathione?
Well, let me tell you something really quickly, Jessy. This is really cool. LifeWave, the stem cell patches that I use, and I'm also a distributor, by the way, everybody. I became a distributor because they work. They have a glutathione patch, and these patches are amazing, and they had been kicked out of Canada, but they've just been able to get back in.
Yeah. Oh, you have to tell me about this.
I will. I definitely will. It does wonders for your body, for your, they call it aging younger. I have more energy. You can use different ones for sleep, or if you need.
Well, get your mitochondria enlivened and alive.
Yes.
Doing things, and it heals.
Because our stem cells decline with age. And by the time we're like 60, they're way down. They start declining after 30. So that's something cool that's happening. But yes, I know you all are under a lot of constraints in Canada. And, the thing is that when we trust only in pharmaceuticals, somebody's getting rich off of people's pain and people's disease. Somebody's getting rich off of that. And I firmly believe that there are many ways that you can, all of you watching, that you can learn, such as Reiki, which I can teach, which I teach, such as what Jessy does with people. There's so many ways that you can learn to relax your vagal nerve, which actually increases the communication throughout your body, and to bring your cortisol stress hormone levels down so that you don't have the experience of disease. It's a lot harder for disease to get to you when your body is in a good state. It's just not going to happen.
we've been taught that disease is a part of aging. It's not. Aging is our
Right.
time on the planet. It has nothing to do with our state of health. And it is our thoughts, it is our lack of vitamins, it is stress, it is lack
Yes.
of sleep, it is the vibrational frequencies around us that are
Yes.
contributing to the body going through this aging process. And I think aging is a hypnosis. Like I
Mhm.
turned 68 this year, and I like to say I feel healthier now than I did in my 20s. My kids tease me because I do go to the gym again, and I've got guns, and my son is a
Yay.
bodybuilder, and it's like I just feel strong. I feel really healthy and strong. I'm not trying to look beautiful. I don't want to be a fitness model, but I like having the energy to run up and down the stairs or run around the block or take care of my 97-year-old mom, who's also a very strong and dynamic woman. And it's like we do not have to age, but we will age if we think we are.
Absolutely.
That's
And
it's a form
so
of
many
giving up.
people, they get old here first. They get old here. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, this is just a part of life. I've got to have these aches and pains, and I've got to have, I've got to shrink, and I've got to, these things that people think have to happen. I have to get a bunch of wrinkles. Nobody can ever believe my chronological age. And you don't certainly look your age either. I'm 57. You're what, 68?
I'm
The thing
68.
is,
I like to say I can't prove my age because I don't have any gray hair yet. Where are my wisdom strands?
girl, look at you. Well, I have a little bit of gray hair, but nobody ever, when I get together with the people I studied with years ago, when I was together with them in London, years ago, we get together every couple of years for a reunion, and they said, "Oh my God, you look so young." But you all, the youthful mentality and keeping yourself learning, which is one of the things I love about being in business. And I hope everybody here does. Tell yourself the story of not I need to work hard. Tell yourself the story I get to learn so many things and continue to have wonderful experiences that teach me. Tell yourself that story instead of
Well,
a story, well, I
especially
have to study
nowadays.
this.
Yeah. But
So
nowadays we can do
fun.
business online, on StreamYard,
Yeah.
on Zoom. Like
Yeah.
during COVID, my business took off in a way that I did not expect because some of my clients were stranded in Dubai and in Holland and
Yeah.
on a boat and different things. And they started talking about me. And as I worked round the clock, I made my first $100,000 year. And that was
Love
never
it.
my intention. And it was like, do I even want to work that hard again? And it's like we have to work smarter, not necessarily harder.
Exactly.
And the more time we take to relax, the more we get to receive. If we're just pushing, 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 we're literally pushing energy away from us and not allowing us to receive. And so it's
So true.
fascinating. So I just saw your comment there. 4 magic questions. Is that mine? Could I let it go? Would I let it go? And the fourth question is, would I let it go now?
Would I let it go now? Okay. Would I let it go now? And this comes from body code, emotion code, right?
Not really. I don't think they use that. They do talk about emotions and things. I've taken the body code. I've taken
Uh-huh.
body talk, but
Hmm.
this came during one of I used to do workshops for the self-employment groups
Hmm.
here locally. And I would teach them like, no matter how much you spend on having a VA or on doing your,
Yes.
Facebook posts and things like that. It's not about bombarding everybody. It is about you pulling in the energy to pull in. So we would give them a new technique every single month to practice for that month. And one day I think it was a money seminar. I had $2,000 in my hand, and as people were coming through the door, I would touch them with the $2,000 because I was looking to see who's afraid of money. That's not what I was telling. Very few people actually went, "Ooh," for me. A lot of people went, "Ooh." And it's
Oh,
like,
I'd be like, thank
oh,
you.
and they go, "No, I like money. I want to earn money." And I'm going, "Your body's telling me something different." So I would lay
Yes.
them at the front of the room on a massage table, and I would do an orthopedic evaluation. I'd lift their legs, I'd lift their arms, we'd turn their heads side to side, we'd see if they could touch their toes. I'd get them on the table, we'd put the money on them, and we would see what would happen to the body. And they'd be like
Rigid.
statues.
Wow.
Their legs would weigh 1,000 pounds. They had
Wow.
stiff necks, or tears would roll from their eyes, or they'd have ringing in their ears. The symptoms were astounding. And so
Wow.
then I'd ask that person's body if it would be the surrogate for the group, because everybody came in with some money stories and we didn't have to know what they were individually. And then I get people to tell me, what did it feel like when you were 5 or 7 years old? What do you think about when and they'd say, oh, adventurous and curious and full of energy. And they give me all these beautiful adjectives. And I'd write them all down on a big giant piece of paper. And I would fold that up and put it on the person's body. And all of a sudden they would be more flexible than they were before. They could practically do somersaults. I would take that away. We put the money back on and and so then I started using body talk and different questions and it came out very simply. Could you let this fear of money go, or this anger, or this rejection of money? Like the thoughts that came up was they were angry, or they were sad, or they were afraid, or they were hurt because money
They felt controlled by someone with money or whatever. There's so much. Yes, all these strings. Yes.
And then we would clear that up and we get the person off the table, and I would make the whole audience touch their toes and see if they could lift their hands. So even the people who had, frozen shoulder or something and came in for pain were suddenly flexible and moving again. Wow. And it always astounds me. We have been conditioned in our society to believe that pain means we're somehow broken, that there's something wrong with us. But if you ask the question, oh, is that sensation mine? You will find a lot of the time that you just picked up somebody else's stuff. They're dust bunnies. And that's why so many people don't get cured, because they're trying to fix something that isn't yours. When you can literally say to the body, hey, would you please trace, track, scan, and identify and see if this is actually mine? And the body will go, no. Well, if it's not mine, could I let it go?
Yeah, right? Why do you want to carry around somebody else's crap?
It's so simple. And that's how it, and I don't know if it's because 25 years ago, the energy on the earth was different and it took a lot more effort. Maybe I just wasn't smart enough back then. Something is happening that we can manifest this quickly. We can release pain this quickly. I don't care if it's what names they give it, if it's sciatica or they call it lymphoma. Or it's like, no, we can start moving this really, really fast. It's just frequencies of energy. And if we tune into that, and so that's why I say those questions are the basis of my course called The Secrets of the Empowered Empath.
Nice.
Because we're all empaths. And our business is about us being an empath. It's not about us shoving our energy on somebody else. Like I've noticed when somebody's on stage and they're bombarding me, I just lean back and I just want to leave the room. But if they pull me in and we have this energy exchange, it's so much easier. And I feel loved and I feel heard and I feel seen and my body starts flowing and the energy starts flowing. And it's like, oh my gosh, we can ask our body to answer us because we're not our body. I have a body, but my body isn't me. And I actually was excommunicated from the church when I was 12 years old. I was raised Catholic.
Wow.
And I would argue with the priest. I had a crush on him, so I always wanted to ask him questions. And my biggest thing was, he says, Jessy, you have such a big glowing heart. Oh, Jessy, you're such a sweet child. And he says, you have a big soul. And I actually one day said, no, my soul's not in my body. My soul is big. That's why you can see it. Why would I try and stuff it in my body? And I think he called me a baptized Buddhist or something. And I went home crying. I don't know what that means, but they don't like me anymore.
Baptized Buddhist.
And it wasn't until I was like 39 or 40 that I found out what a Buddhist was. And it was like, oh yeah, my philosophies are very much like theirs, only I've never been trained in it. It's just what my soul tells me that I know. And my mother used to say to me, you have such a strong knowing. Stop telling people what you know. Just stop telling people. But it was like I came here to announce things to people to make them think differently. And that's why everybody would come to me from instead of the HR department, because I would reframe their thought patterns of what they thought their problems were. And it wasn't intentional. It's just who I am.
I love that.
For health, we can do that. Too many empaths think they're victims. Too many empaths want to shield their energy. As soon as you shield your energy, you make yourself small. That's where the fear comes in. It's like, no, expand out. Make the light brighter. Make the light glow. Make it radiant. I like to use the ceiling lights as an example. A light bulb has two tiny little filaments in it, right? They don't even touch. You run a current through it and suddenly there's a spark. So we put a glass globe around it, not to keep the dust off of it. We're not shielding it from dust and dirt and bugs. We are putting a glass globe around it to enhance the light, to make it glow bigger, to make it glow brighter. And then we put a fancier doohickey around it. What do you call those lampshade things? Ours is glass. And
Yes.
it casts out all the shadows. When we make ourselves small, we make ourselves heavy to be like the shadow. We don't want to be shadow. We want to cast out the shadow. We want to be ourselves. And sounds silly to say the government seems to be some sort of a shadow energy.
Yes.
The schools take the light out of the kids' eyes. So I think as empaths, we need to all just wake up and claim our empathy, our ability to feel everybody's energy. Because when we expand our light, we do not get overwhelmed. We only get overwhelmed.
Here's the thing too, with what you're talking about, we really are all empaths. So many people though have put up such walls and walls around their heart. And of course, there's all that work now that's being done with heart walls with energy. And you all think about it, when your heart is open, it becomes really impossible to hurt other people. It becomes impossible to hurt animals. It becomes impossible to hurt someone else because you understand that we're all connected. And so really this is essential, as I see it, for us to really transform humanity and actually have people get along. We have got to have our hearts open. And, I think that it is the best protection you can ever have is to simply make your light stronger, just to hold your light. It's always going to protect you. I did it every day while we were gone, while we were traveling through some places that are kind of dangerous, like Barcelona is pretty dangerous. Paris can be dangerous. And just putting light around us and affirming that through the creative spirit within us, my daughter and I traveled safely. We met wonderful, loving people, kind people. We were able to shift the energy wherever we went. And indeed, that's what happened. Like, that's what happened everywhere. So your intention, everybody, as you're listening to us talk, I want you to think about, what intention do you set before you go into a networking group, for instance? Are you holding the intention of giving? Are you holding the intention of sharing your light? Or are you going in there, just trying to get something? Put your focus out. That's something I like to say. When in doubt, focus out onto others. And that could be plants, it could be animals, it could be people. But focus out and you'll find that happiness finds you. It's no way not to be happy when you're focused out.
Yeah, I remember when I first started networking and I had changed from pharmaceutical into doing energy work, and it was a shitstorm. It wasn't that I intended to do energy work. I just took on energy work to help my daughter because she was at sick kids hospital, to help my son because he didn't like seeing her with the needles, because my ex wasn't paying for child support. My kid had to go from Montessori to public school. There was a lot of transitions and changes. And I had never intended to take my healing practice into the public. It was just something I did for me and my family. And all the trainings I took were just for me and my family. The EFT that I learned to calm our energy was just for me and my family. And I was commuting, so an hour and a half away to come up to Barrie because I'm trying to think, 2006, I'd already been working part-time doing energy work at a massage therapy clinic weekends and evenings because I was a single mom. I needed more money. I thought I needed more money. But it was also giving me practice. But I took Merck had laid off, 2,000. Apotex had laid off 5,000. The whole pharmaceutical thing was just switching back and forth. And I got laid off 3 times that year. And I took a job up here in Barrie, which is now my home. But I was commuting for an hour and a half from Toronto up to Barrie every single day. And we had always heard Barrie was in the snow belt. It is, but that doesn't mean it snows 12 months a year. But anybody who lives up here and has to commute to Toronto makes all the Torontonians think that it's snow all year round. So I found out that that was a lie. And I started working for this job that I wanted to make sure they were secure before I tried to move up here. And then I found the housing prices up here were so reasonable that I could buy a house for what I was renting from in the city. And we were renting a 2-bedroom with 4 of us living there. And I could buy this whole big giant house. And I bought the house. I had it under the Christmas tree for the kids. We moved in. That day was a snowstorm. It took us 13 hours instead of 1.5 hours to drive up here. Shitstorm.
Oh, well.
And then I went to work at the end of the New Year's, and they had been closed down and shut and gone bankrupt. I couldn't even get my sweaters and my pens out of there. And I thought, what am I going to do? What? And I stood there in the parking lot yelling at God, saying, what are you doing to me? My kids need to be fed. What am I supposed to do now? I just moved into this whole new city where we don't know anybody. And the phone rings, and I pick up my phone, and it's a psychologist I knew up here, and she was looking for someone to cover her at something called BNI, Business Network International.
Nice.
I'd never heard of it. She says, all you have to do is read this speech, read it off your phone, everything's cool. For some reason, the meeting went really, really fast, and apparently they don't usually invite people to talk about what you are if you're what they call a sub. And they said, we got time. Jessy, why don't you tell us what you do? And my head went into, oh, shit. I'm not going to tell you. I'm just laid off, and I'm looking for a job in pharmaceutical. And my mind went blank. And I stood up, and my mouth said, I will clean houses, but I clean houses with a twist. I will clear out any entities, any ghosts. I will Reiki the house after I've cleaned it. I will set your intentions for you. And if you have any aches or pains there, I will clean it up for you. And then I sat down, and my head said, are you nuts? They're never going to invite you back again. I walked out with 3 clients.
Love it.
And
Yes.
for 6 months, I cleaned houses, doing Reiki and everything else and setting their intentions. And I was telling everybody it's part-time until I do this. I would never have stopped working in pharmaceutical because my mind would have said it's not safe and you cannot do a full-time job doing energy healing. It wasn't done 25 years ago. It just wasn't done. And at least not that anybody I knew. I was always the only one. And I've never looked back. I've never looked back. Because of BNI, I then joined. They had to create a seat for me across the world. There is a Reiki seat. There's still, I looked it up today, there's only 6 people across the world. And it's like, what is wrong with the healers?
Are you serious? I need to be in BNI doing Reiki. Are you kidding? Wow.
Yeah. So Reiki has helped my business tremendously. I wake up every morning and say, hey, God, who do you want me to help today? I don't have to bombard people with emails, and I don't do enough newsletters, apparently. I've been told off for that. But I'm only going to blast you if I've got something really extraordinarily out of the way there for you to do. But we can tune in to our heart and our gut. And then our gut problems go away because we're listening to ourselves instead of rejecting everything.
Because really, what's happening with our bodies when something's going on is it's the body saying, hey, I'm here.
I'm here. Yeah,
hello.
I need your support.
I'd like you to listen. I really like you to listen. Would you listen? And, it's that opportunity to stop. And we otherwise, think about it, you all, our bodies are our greatest gift and they can be our greatest burden. They're a gift when we are listening, but when we're not listening, they can be our burden because we are not taking care of them in some way, shape, or form.
And our society has domesticated us to think that pain is the problem. Pain's
right.
The problem. It's the messenger.
It's the symptom. It's what's created from the situation. Yes. And I love that. It's the messenger. So something we could say, you all, as you're listening to Jessy's story and how she went through this marriage, divorce, and, some abuse and lots of issues with her kids, with medical challenges, and, then getting laid off 3 times in a year, all this stuff, would be very easy, wouldn't it, to sit back and say, oh, why me? Why me? Oh my God. Oh my God. And I think we all do that at some point when stuff happens. We're like, why me? But I always say, when you finish saying, why me? Then ask, why me? Which is a very different
What's the message here that I'm not getting?
What am I bringing to the world? And, your mess becomes your message, as Dean Graciosi says. So you got to look into that, look into the messes, look into the shit storms in your life, look into those shit storms, face that fan with all the shit hitting it, and
walk
say,
through it. Just walk through it.
There's only one letter difference between shit and shift.
Exactly.
Yes. So shift happens, and it happens from shit. whatever shit we're going through is leading us, and it can be compost. I want to see how many times I can say shit in like 30 seconds. And then we can put this up. We'll do a reel with us saying shit. But truthfully, Jessy, you walk through all of that. You walk through all of that, and it brought you to your business. And when you stood up in that BNI, it was like this stuff flowed out. There was a reason.
It brought me to my passion, and it brought me into my mission. And I didn't know. I grew up wanting to help people. I wanted to be a doctor, and my high school guidance counselor said, "You're a girl. You can be a secretary, a nurse, or a teacher." And he said, "And you're from a broken home. You might as well just quit school now and go get barefoot and be pregnant." And I was so shocked. I didn't know how to respond to that. My grades were excellent. I had a part-time job after school. I volunteered, and this man is telling me, what? That was the first time I'd encountered. I'd been working since I was 13. I was an elevator operator, opening the doors and letting people out at the fancy floors and things. And I had my little white gloves. And
love it.
I am the type of person, you tell me I can't do something, and I will go show you that, damn it, yes, I can.
He was your messenger. He was your angel. Yes, he was. Because it's like when somebody told you that, you said, oh, let me prove you wrong.
Let me prove you wrong. That's always been. And for me too, I'm so happy that nowadays Bruce Lipton is mainstream, James Oshman is mainstream, Joe Dispenza. Everybody has known about them and has learned about them. And the stem cell, you've got stem cell patches, girl. I mean, that is amazing.
I know, girlfriend.
I need to know more about that.
That stuff is wild. I'll tell you. I'll show you some of the patches, man. I got my patches right here, and I pull them out for exactly what I need them. I muscle test which ones to use each day. So I'm not using all of these, but I might use 2 or 3 a day. And the beauty is, after I use them, I put them on the dog, who, guess what? He had hip issues, and now he jumps up on my massage table, no problem. 100-pounder. Amazing.
Well, I hope you Reiki'd him too.
Oh yes, I Reiki'd him. They all get Reiki. I tell you, I was buried under animals the night that I came back. Because they were so happy. I had 2 cats on top of me fighting over who could be on me, and then the dog, the 100-pounder, was trying to get in, put his head and his big old paws all over me. No, animals love Reiki. Now, some of you may not know what Reiki is, but I've practiced and taught Reiki for good Lord since 1994. I've taught it, and I've practiced it since 1992. And you were an early adopter too, Jessy. We were the people who were doing it when people thought it was weird, and now it's part of integrative health departments, integrative medicine, energy medicine. It's just become mainstream.
For a while there, we had it in the Toronto hospitals.
Love it. Yeah. We have it in Duke Hospital. I've taught so many nurses at UNC. There were like 3 or 4 hospitals just within 30 miles of where I live. And I have taught all sorts of nurses, med students, and doctors Reiki. And it's not just for healthcare professionals, it's for everyday people. Actually, I love teaching business people, because business people have so much overwhelm. We're, especially when we're solopreneurs, we're juggling everything. And Reiki, having that practice of Reiki, I do mine every day, every morning.
I think if we talk about it in terms of alpha waves and theta waves,
yes,
and waves, people will understand it more, because it immediately it's like putting your hand on your heart, your hand on your butt. Maybe that's where I got this from. Is from the Reiki hand positions.
Exactly. When you said it, I was like, oh, hello, because basically, they're positions in our energy centers that we're doing. Yes, absolutely. Yes, everything. I love that. So everybody, one thing we talked about, and you want to watch the entire episode though, is that a very quick and easy way to just ground yourself and feel better is just to put your hand here, right above your, above your heart energy center, which is in the middle of your chest, the middle of where your breasts are. And then put your other hand over like your belly area.
I had a child the other day in here, and her father came to pick her up. She has anxiety. She's about 11 years old. And he said, so what did you learn today? And she said, Jessy taught me how to touch myself. Oh my God.
And he's like, oh no. That's funny. That needed a little clarification, didn't it?
It did, quite a bit. I had to show him what we were talking about and show him the sway
and then he got it
like that as well.
You know what? I have had teachers who taught special education, and they would actually teach their kids some of the Reiki positions, and the kids would immediately relax. And if they wouldn't do them on the kids, but they would tell the kids, here, we're going to put our hands over our belly, and we're going to put a hand right here in the middle of the chest. We're going to hold here, or we're going to put our hands on the top of our head.
I like to
When the
do the
kids were
ones in the
angry.
back of the head.
Yes, I love those. Yes.
Yeah,
And
that
we're
can
going to
work
do
for
that.
vagus
And
nerve
then the
too.
kids started asking for it, Jessy. They started asking for it. I
My
love
daughter
that.
used to babysit, and the kids who were babysat always wanted Laura. She would Reiki them as she read them bedtime stories, and they would say, she's the only one I can go to sleep with. And the parents were
Love
like, how
that.
did you do that? How did you? She goes, I just helped them relax. I just helped them relax.
Yes. Sometimes when we hear the word Reiki, people can be like, what does that mean? Well, it's a method for natural stress and pain relief. That's what Reiki is. And it really is so powerful. Well, Jessy, this has been so interesting. I can't believe we've almost been on here for an hour. But
Oh my gosh.
we've covered so much, and how your shitstorm really led to your passion, to your purposeful business. And while so many people were freaking out with COVID, your business expanded, which mine did as well. So I incorporate everything I do with my coaching. It also includes all the mindset and energetic work. It's all part and parcel.
Well, it's like a reframe of shitstorm is. It's just growth. It's just the manure that goes
Yeah.
on to make us grow. If we're
It's
flowers,
fertilizer.
it's going to grow.
It's fertilizer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when we begin to ask the question of not why me, why did this happen? We ask, why did this happen? Why did this happen? Why me? Why me?
What is this?
What have I been gifted through this experience? We'll be amazed.
I look back and I am glad that we had the divorce. He was my best friend for 20 years. I had the best 20 years of his life, but I do not recognize who he is now. He was not in the kid's life, and it would have been absolute mayhem, not just chaos, but mayhem if he had stayed in their lives. And like he had been in a terrible car accident and came out of that car accident somebody totally different. There was a lot of head injury there. So I don't begrudge him anything. I wish I knew how to help him back then. But yeah, our lives were meant to split. I went in the direction I was meant to grow in and become and become authentically. And my kids as well. My son became a police officer. And I remember saying to him, why are you going into the police force? and he said, Mom, I don't want to work with sick people. And I went, oh, honey, you're going to be working with the sickest of the sick. They just don't know they're sick. And he said, but Mom, we know how to cure PTSD. I can't change that system unless I'm in the system. And at that point, I just pulled my hands off and said, you go do you. I'll let my preconceived notions about what you're going to encounter leave. And your soul is calling you, and you do that. And my daughter took my business. I was always, my nickname was the unflaky Reiki lady.
You're so funny.
Everything flaky. And she has spun it in a way that is perfect for her. But she was so sick as a child, I think, because she didn't want to be here. She has often said, I wasn't supposed to come to Earth. I was tricked into coming here. These human beings are not worth my time and trouble. And now she's at a place where, no, I guess I grew into it. And yes, they are worth my time and trouble. And she doesn't see herself as superior. She just wants to teach everybody how to open up their own empathic abilities, because that's where our true nature lies. And that's where our power and empowerment lies. Not in this little hamster wheel. That hamster wheel.
No. The hamster wheel is hell on earth. You want to create hell on earth? Listen to the intellect, because it will go to town on why you can't do
bullshit
things.
rules
Good enough.
That make no sense. I heard somewhere, and I have to look it up, that we are the only mammal that has a split brain, left and right hemisphere. And I'd be really curious to know if that was something, because I go into aliens and all that kind of stuff too. It was something that was manufactured for us to keep us out of our power.
Now that's interesting. That's wild.
Well, there's so much that we don't know, and that we don't remember, and that we haven't been taught, and that has been covered up, and we don't know. So whenever people get overwhelmed with all that other information, I put my hand on my heart, my hand on my belly, and is this something I need to know right now? If it says no, I let it go. If it
Love
says
it.
yes, I dive deeper.
So you all, what Jessy shared earlier, you can definitely, actually I'm a dowser, Jessy, and you can douse with your body. And that's
Yes, you
essentially
can.
what
We
you're
call it
talking
body
about.
dowsing.
Go forward, go back. And you can do it with food. Like you can pick up something that's, like a Twinkie, and your body's going to go back from that Twinkie, Maybe if you pick up dark chocolate without sugar in it, your body could go forward because it has magnesium.
For new clients who don't know what body dowsing is or muscle testing is, I have a sack of sugar and I ask their body to tell us if this makes them feel better or healthier. And the body always says no.
It goes back.
Yeah.
And it creates an acidic environment, which contributes to disease.
Viruses, bacteria, everything grow in
Yeah.
that acidic. Yeah.
Sugar, white sugar in general, but white sugar, cane sugar, corn syrup, all of the different, there's so many different names of sugar, you all, but
Even
sugar
the monk
really
fruit and all the things that are
kills.
supposedly healthy. If we look back 125 years, our
People weren't-
ancestors did not
yeah.
eat sugar all day long, every day.
No, they didn't.
It
Well,
was
they ate
rare.
fruit. They ate fruit if they did, and they
Yeah.
ate maybe figs or dates or something like that. Dates are very fulfilling for sugar, but
And they
yes,
also have a lot of iron and zinc and other minerals in there that we can absorb and metabolize.
yes,
Sugar itself is empty.
yeah, it is. But you can dry your dry fruit, and it's very delicious. Well, it is important, you all, that you listen to your body too about what your body wants you to eat and drink, how much water you need, etc. Because guess what? If you don't listen to your body about how much sleep you need, about what to put into your body, about your thoughts, etc., if you don't listen to your body, you're going to get burned out. And you're not going to have the stamina you need for your business.
Yeah.
Business requires incredible stamina.
Yeah, we don't have time to get sick. What is that?
No.
Why do we do that?
But
then some of us are like that. There was a time that at every Christmas I would get strep throat and sick because I would burn myself out for the whole year. And then I would take that week between Christmas and New Year's off. And I needed the excuse of being sick to take it off.
Isn't that interesting?
And once I realized that was a pattern and that was an excuse, it was like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah. Did everybody hear that? She realized that she was getting this pattern, and it was an excuse it was the thing she felt she needed to rest. So now you can just rest and you don't need to get sick.
No guilt. No guilt at all.
Yes.
I can't remember when I was sick. I guess, during COVID, I think it was January 2020, before we heard about COVID, I came down with a 21-day flu and my kids were checking on me because I just slept and I just slept. And I thought, I was actually making jokes that I better come out of here with butterfly wings because something is metabolizing.
Yes.
But I kept asking my body and it kept saying, it's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade. And it was like, okay, my body is doing something. And then in March, it was actually my daughter's birthday, March 11th, we found out about COVID. And it was like, by then my family had already upgraded. So we were fine. And it was like, whether it is induced artificially or anything, the body adapts if we let it adapt. And that, I think, is what's so magnificent about human beings. I always say, they're always trying to kill us, but they can't wipe us out. We're still here. Whoever they is, I don't know who they is, but it's like, no, our body is constantly adapting. Every sensation, every symptom, every intensity that we have is our body talking and saying, let's step up, let's do more. So
I hope, as you all have been listening, that you're having some ahas about patterns you have going on, stories you have going on that are not serving you. And you're also thinking about, is this expansive or is this constrictive? Is this an opportunity or is it a distraction? There are a lot of things we talked about in terms of your business. And you can also just ask questions and let your body tell you. Ask a question. Is this the right networking group for me? Is this the right business opportunity for me? Is this the right person for me to talk to about being in my program, whatever. So it's about time for us to wrap. Jessy, you and I could talk forever. I know we could forever and ever and ever. But you've given us so many interesting things to think about today. I really hope that folks, I really hope you'll listen carefully, because you've got some tools you can use that are really concrete. And you've got some new ideas for your business, which is fabulous. And that's what we always aim to do in Bold Badass Business Owners, is give you some badass ideas and badass strategies so you can be better and bolder and braver in business, because guess what? The world needs you. So
And I
Jessy,
want everybody to be weird. Let them
be weird. Oh yes. Ha! It
Do
comes
it your
naturally
way.
to
Weird
me.
means of spirit. Bring in your spirituality into
Love it.
everything that you're doing. Yeah.
I learned that because of the weird sisters in Macbeth, the witches, the weird sisters, they're called.
Mhm.
And I learned the meaning of weird from that play. And
Yeah.
it is spiritual. So it doesn't mean you're, strange.
Strange. It doesn't mean you're strange at all. It means you're tapping into
You're
something
connected
you
to
can't see.
source. You're connected to source. I love that. So you've got something to give away to people, right, Jessy? This is a fun
Yes,
time.
I do.
Who
If
likes
they
a giveaway?
To my Twitter, energytuneups.com, they can link in and they get a free ebook about the 7 things you can do to expand your energy and tune in. Or I have a new toy that I've been playing with that uses scalar energy. So if they want, they can Facebook message me or send me an email, and I will do a quick scan that shows them what frequencies they're missing and put them back into their body so that they can up their energy. Oh yeah, it is mind-blowing.
I want to do that. Now, wait a second. Energytuneups.com is the free ebook.
Energytuneups.com. There'll be a little link there for the ebook that they can read. But if they go to relief@jessymorrison.ca. That's my email. And ask for
wait a second. Relief.
RELIEF@JESSYMORRISON.ca for Canada. And just ask how to get the free voice scan. And the people who have been having the voice scans are telling me that they have more motivation than they ever did. One woman was depressed, had been laid off from work, couldn't get off the couch, and she knew she had to go job hunting. And she sent me 15 days later, said, can I do another voice scan? Because I have cleaned my fridge, cleaned all my closets, and I started my own business. And it's like, when we take back the frequencies that we require, and stress will not get out of us, we are complete and whole. We are in that energy frequency of being able to be calm no matter what we're walking through. We don't have to fall apart. We allow chaos to mean infinite opportunities, and we just
love that.
Out. Yeah.
Allow chaos to mean infinite opportunities. I love that. I'm putting that into the chat. So you all definitely go avail yourselves at energytuneups.com of the free ebook. And you can also email Jessy to get the free voice scan, which will tell you which frequencies you're missing. And that allows you to bring. Yes, that's wonderful. Feeling. And the other thing that I always forget to say is go and grab at spirited-solutions.com. Go get my ebook that's available there for you, which is how to overcome overwhelm in 7 easy steps. And it's filled with lots of strategies that you can use in your business. So go ahead and go there, because we don't want you feeling overwhelmed. There is no joy in that. There is no joy in struggle. You are not here to struggle. You are not here to struggle in your business, but you do need a damn fine business coach who understands this shit. So that's me. Yep, that's me, y'all. That's me. That was our commercial break there. And you need people like Jessy who can help you when you get out of kilter, and you can feel it. You're wonky. Remember our word for today. You're wonky. And people are kind of saying, are you okay? Do you have PMS?
I just don't feel like myself. I love to say, who do you feel like today? But it's, let's get you back into alignment.
I just don't feel like myself. Don't go around feeling like somebody else or don't go around feeling wonky. There's no need to do that. Life is too short, and your energy matters. Your voice matters. Your business matters. And whatever shitstorm you're walking through, guess what? It's there for a purpose. So that being said, I want to thank you, Jessy. You have been an amazing guest. I just love your energy. I know that people are going to listen to this and want to listen over and over. And those of you who are here, make sure you comment. Don't be an internet voyeur. Comment and tell us what your ahas are. Share some of your stories that you've got going on that aren't working for you. Talk about what you're going to change the story to. Just share and connect. Use the comments. Use the comments to inspire.
You said something like shit is just one letter away from shift.
From shift. Yeah, and it's time to shift. And guess what? When you engage and you comment, you're going to impact other people who are going to be listening to this, and they're going to see your comment. They're going to be like, oh, somebody else feels that way. So don't hold back. Don't hold back. Make sure you subscribe also to my channel, y'all. Come on now, subscribe, like, and share this. Share it with somebody else you know is walking through a shitstorm. And know that every Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, Bold Badass Business Owners streams live. But you can also go back and watch the episodes later if you have to miss one. So that's why you want to make sure you subscribe. So you all have an amazing weekend. Be bold, be brave, know you matter, and I'll see you next week. And thanks again, Jessy.
Thank you, Bonsley.